Welcome to the John McAllister Report, where John McAllister, top football evaluator, interviews college and high school coaches and athletes from around the country. Sit back and enjoy today's podcast.
This is John McAllister with the John McAllister Report. And today I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about college football spring evals. I'm only a month late, but I think it's really important that I still get it out there. And hopefully what I really want to tell you is something that you can use all the time when you go to summer camps, when you meet with a coach and things like that. Now, spring evals, the ones that are going on right now, I think from April 15th to May 31st, college coaches get two opportunities to see recruits at the school. They only get two, and one of them is termed for athletics, to see them in athleticism. And there they go to track meets or they go to baseball games. And right now, I think high school coaches are starting into real serious showcases. By that, they put on a 2-hour, sometimes hour and a half practice, workouts and testing and things like that. And the college coach is free to come and watch. And it's a neat opportunity in Ohio to get exposure. Now, you only can do the school's team at the school site. For example, I live in Upper Sandusky. People from other schools can't come in to the showcase. Only players in Upper Sandusky. And then the other visit is termed for academic reasons. They can come and talk about a person's grades, person's character, and things like that. It's just another opportunity to evaluate. And those are the only two that they can do. And what I really like to talk about is the communication that needs to go on with the high school prospect. And technically, college coaches are only allowed to introduce themselves and maybe tell them about the camp, invite them to our camp. Technically, that's the most they can do. But the rule is broken so often it's not even funny, because a lot of college coaches may say more than a few words and things like that. I think it's a broken rule, and then some college coaches, they try to stay that way and keep it. Then some college coaches don't mess with the rule. They just want to see the player, the prospect, and eyeball him. And boy, like I said earlier, with these showcases, they can sit and watch him for an hour or so at least, or they can go to practice. And some guys will go to track meets or baseball games just to eyeball the prospect. And, obviously, it's another way. It's just another way to get a good eye to see the prospect. What I'd like to talk about today and spend just a few minutes on is the way the prospect should carry himself and maybe what he could say, what he could talk about, because I think one of the more important things for the prospect is, well, first of all, be in school. Second of all, show a lot of self-confidence. Don't go overboard, but show self-confidence. Be firm handshake, stand tall, and things like that. That's really, and be yourself, but your good self. Don't be an attitude or anything like that. And don't to me, don't be too humble. Don't be intimidated. Obviously, if a major college coach comes in and you know be humble, but don't be intimidated. Be firm, okay? Stand tall, be firm, and look the coach in the eye. Now, with a note there, the head football coach cannot come to these. They're only assistant coaches. The head coach, say Ryan Day or Jim Harbaugh or Scott Leffler, they can't make the visit. Only the assistant coaches. So you're not going to see Luke Fickell. You're not going to see Coach Day. You're not going to see those guys, Matt Campbell, whatever. You're not going to see those guys. So, but only assistant coaches. And here's what I'd like to talk about real quickly is be able to communicate. Most college assistant coaches say they get so frustrated when they're doing all the talking, and this applies to football camps. This applies if you go to their camp, if you see them, be able to communicate, talk to them. With the advent of the video with the advent of the cell phone and things like that, nobody communicates very well anymore. So college recruiters love to see you communicate. What can you talk about? Okay, that's what the gist of this whole small podcast is. What do you talk about? Okay, you can ask the college coach. Ask him, and ask him about study halls. Do you have study halls at the college? Do you have nutrition? Ask them about the nutrition program and just what's all involved in their nutrition program. What about nutrition? How much liquids do they get? How much food do they get? What kind of foods? What kind of diet are they on? Anything? Do they have a good nutrition program? Do they have a master's program? If I stay after the fourth year, do they have the master's program that you like? What does it cost? How do you get in it? And things like that. Ask them about the portal, the transfer portal, just how it's working at their school, the transfer portal. And maybe ask them, be careful here, ask them how many players are transferring in and how many players are transferring out. I'd make that one of my last questions to ask, but also ask about the cafeteria. What kind of food do you have? What kind of, like I said earlier with nutrition, it's a little bit different, but do they have a diet that they have to follow? But what's their cafeteria like? They're eating off season, in season. What's the cafeteria program like? Ask them about the weight room, and I'm sure you'll see that eventually. But ask them about the weight room. What's the weight room? How often do they lift? Do they lift early in the morning? What time do they expect them there? Just ask them what's available. How long's a workout? What do they emphasize? How many strength coaches do they have, or trainers now? Physical trainers. And then, with that being said, ask them about the training program. What kind of do they have? The hot tubs now and things like that. Do they have the big pool that you can get in? What do they do after practice? Reclamation type program after the football practices and stuff. Ask them about football practices. Roughly how long they are. Are parents allowed to come and watch practice and things like that? Okay. Don't be afraid to ask them those questions. Academics. What's the academic counselor like? What kind of help can I get? What kind of programs do I get? An individual tutor? Things like that. Those are kind of questions I would ask. But the most important thing is talk to them. Be ready to ask some questions. Don't him haul around. When you talk to him, look him in the eye. Okay. Look the coach in the eye. Again, if they're coming to do a spring eval, they're not supposed to talk that long. But these are just pick a choice of those. Go back and pick one or two. I think nutrition. I think that program. Ask them about that. Ask them about what kind of help you get in the classroom. What kind of tutors do they have? Those would be two questions that you could ask. But try to come up with something to ask them. Don't ask them how many deep, how many positions they have open, and things like that. I'm not now. Don't ask them those questions. And the last thing is, and I'll close here, is ask them about camps. Ask them how the football camp in the summer. Do you want me to come to the camp? When's the best one? What's the best one to come to in football camps? And ask them, anything about the camp that you went to. Okay, I'd like to thank you for taking the time here for whatever time I've taken, 10 minutes. And I just think it's so important to be talking and communicating with the coaches and have something to say and, ask them those questions. And the other thing is a review here is be firm, stand tall. And when you meet another coach, stand tall, good handshake. I have small hands, so guys crunch my hands. But things like that. Well, good luck on your spring evals. You have 2 chances to make a good impression on the coaches, and don't over talk, because technically you're not supposed to say anything. You have a great day, and